Well, good morning. It is a little dark, as you can see. Apparently my stomach or gut is growling a little. I guess that must be in regards of the nystatin. So I'm on my first day on that nystatin. I started at the beginning of the day after sunset. So in regards to the Roman time calendar, that would be yesterday. But that would be the beginning of the day of the week. So just to help me a little to know when I started and all that. I have a way of trying to, like cutting my hair when it's the beginning of the month, in regards to the month, beginning at the sliver of the moon. So, that's, but even 15 days, even around 15 days and cutting the hair, I still get dandruff. And it's, But I guess if you have an infection someplace else, and even if you fix it, well, it will just, reinfect it and so forward. So that's pretty sad. I've heard that the candida, if you have candida in the gut, that it can actually, make the dandruff on the top of your, this is one of the symptoms apparently in regards to candida. So, but of course that have become worse in regards to the dandruff and all that. But yeah, so I've taken my second pill of nystatin. It's like, so this is from Germany. Very nice that you don't need prescription from Germany. I'm still on my marathon in regards of Dov Kaufman, of his, and I think I'm like 30 of his, what is it called, video takes that I need. So I've pretty much gone through a huge amount of it. Now, one of the last ones I heard, he talked about that you could actually get diflucan and nystatin that in Germany and Greece. But I haven't been able to find anything in regards of Germany. People must have been, he said that people were writing him and all that in regards of that. It must have been in regards to the nystatin, not in regards to the diflucan, at least in regards of Germany, because I haven't found, anywhere where it can actually be gotten. Either diflucan or fluconazole, I think it's called fluconazole, and that would also be, what is it called, the other thing? Oh, all these words. There's so many words. And then you have one word where there's, one thing that is many names for. And just to make, more of, what shall we say, just to make it more difficult to. So anyway, so I pretty much drank 1.5 liters of yogurt, very sour yogurt, yesterday. So it made my throat a little, but anyway, and took a lot of these gloves, I think they're called, eating a lot of these gloves. Pretty tasty. Okay, so I started on this in regards of, the new week. The beginning of the week. So by the way, Shavua Tov, which means have a good week. So it's of course Sunday in the Roman calendar, which in Denmark apparently is the last day. They think to change times and laws, but of course it's bullshit. The first day of the week is Sunday, and it, will not change just because they think to change times. And this happened in 1973 in Denmark, but joining the European Union, which I think was called something else at that point. But of course that goes back to Rome, as well as everything does, to the Roman Emperor and Caesar, the man of the number 666, the biblical, historical, prophetic Antichrist. That's the so-called Pope, the so-called Holy Father. It's utter blasphemy. I call him the poop, an unholy faker, his most smelliness, instead of his holiness and all that bullshit. Anyway, he's the pagan high priest of, he's the pagan high priest pretty much. The Pontifex Maximus. In any case, so, I have some antibacterial things here. In any case, So yeah, it's morning, and woken up. It's actually pretty nice. I must say, in regard to the nystatin, I took one. Started out, yesterday. I do still have some liquid from which I got in Denmark, 100 milliliters. So that should be for a couple of days, 15, 30, 45. Well, it should be around 6 or 7 days in that. Of course, the liquid you can actually swirl throughout your mouth if you have any problems in your mouth, and then fix it down. But yeah, and I have 100 pills, 5,000 units, 500,000 units each of them. So I haven't really, I saw some that actually took nystatin and all that, and wow, I did got pretty tired, and it was a little hard to actually see if there was something big going on. I did seem to feel that there was something going on, but overall it didn't really. Yeah, I got tired. I got pretty tired. But yeah, I don't know. Well, I'll just going to continue. I saw this guy that took it on YouTube, and he said that the first 4 and 5 days was the worst. And yeah, I do have a little headache actually, and I had that as well yesterday. Just a slight, it's not that much, but yeah, it's a little. So maybe I don't know, maybe it's because it's killing it off or something like that. Hopefully, that would be nice. That would be nice. So, I wanted to just read a little more in regards to fungus and all that. I've been, just laying there a little in the morning here, and let's close this down. And just looking on some of it I actually have closed down. But just to get some more, what shall we say, a little more insight in the things, or getting it more normal. So I have, no, not that's not the one. I have microbiology application that has a chapter on it, and I thought of going through that. And then I can delete the application as well. But and it's in let's see here. Let's see. It's no. We have some problems. There we go. So we have different chapters and all that, and the eukaryotes or something like that of microbiology. And then there's other chapters in here in chapter 5. The eukaryotes of microbiology and so forward. But we want to have fungi. That's the topic we want. So just reading a little here and a little there, and some of the information is the same in some sense. So, but just to get more accustomed to the words and to the things, and as time goes, it should begin to settle in. Of course, I guess one wouldn't need to know these things if it, just needed to know the remedies. But I guess just to be easier to talk to these white coats, because apparently they talk another language, and apparently they don't understand so much about fungi either. But in any case, just to can I turn that around on the screen maybe? Yeah. I will be a little bigger on the computer. Oh, we can actually turn it down or turn it up. It should be big enough on the screen, right? So, fungi. Yeah. I don't know, so this is, I'm on my second capsule, I think it's called, if you want to be totally correct. My second capsule of nystatin now. So I've taken 1 million units, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So I guess that would be, I guess if you need to, that depends on if I'm going to take 3 or 4 a day. Yeah, that's going to, in regards of when to take them and all that. But I guess I'll just take them over the day. But 4 a day, or 3 or 4 a day. Actually, the manual talks about that even going up to 1 million every time you take it. So that would be up to that would be 4 million a day instead of 2 million a day. I don't know. Of course, the more you take, the less days you actually have to, have it. So I don't know. First and foremost, I wanted to see what is happening. If there's anything, if it really gets rough or something like that. And I don't think it has become rough as such, could be a lot worse. But maybe it comes around at some point. So fungi learning objectives. Explain why the study of fungi such as yeast and molds is within the discipline of microbiology. The next one. Describe the unique characteristics of fungi. Next one. Describe examples of asexual and sexual reproduction of fungi. Compare the major groups of fungi in this chapter and give examples of each. Okay, identify examples of primary causes of infections due to yeast and molds. Identify examples of toxin-producing fungi. Well, Candida albicans. Ding, 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 ding. Classify fungal organism according to major groups. So, let's have some more water. I seem to be a little dry. There's, in regards to that, there has been a little in regards to the throat, but of course, it's a little stupid of me that I did all the yogurt yesterday, because that might also have an effect on some of the things. So, already before I took the nystatin, I already have a little, pain in my throat. It's probably because I took so much of yogurt, really high-end pH low yogurt. So I should have been filled with a huge amount of bacteria, and I still have, still have some in the production and all that. But anyway, the fungi. Let's get back to it. The fungi comprise a diverse group of organisms that are heterotrophic and typical saprozoic. In addition to the well-known macroscopic fungi, which as mushrooms and molds, many unicellular, that's single celled, because they can't. That's the thing with these people. They can't write English. It's very hard for them to actually write English, apparently. So they need to say unicellular instead of single cell yeast. And spores of macroscopic fungi are macroscopic. For this reason, fungi are included within the field of microbiology. Fungi are important to humans in a variety of ways. Both macroscopic and macroscopic fungi have medical relevance. I guess they will talk about, the great antibiotic which destroys the gut flora and all that. But yeah, with some pathogenic in regards of harmful species that can cause mycosis, and that's illnesses caused by fungi. Some, they are so nice to actually write that, Some pathogenic fungi are opportunistic, as I understand it, also in regards of opportunistic. If they see the chance of, they will take it. But anyway, let's see what they say. Meaning that they mainly cause infections when the host immune defense are compromised. Yeah. So if, for example, if you're, I guess if you are really, really destroying your, and or suppressing your immune system by doing a lot of stupid choices in life, like drinking a huge amount of alcohol might be one of the things I would guess that could suppress the immune system. But anyway, and of course, bad food as well could probably have an effect. But anyway, immune defenses are compromised and do not normally cause meaning that they mainly cause infection when the host immune defenses are compromised and do not normally cause illness in healthy individuals. Yeah. Fungi are important in other ways. They act as decomposers in environment, and they are critical for the production of certain foods, such as cheeses. Fungi are also, that's interesting. They act as decomposers in the environment, and they're critical for the production of certain foods, such as cheeses. Okay. Fungi are also major sources of antibiotics, such as penicillin, from the fungus, actually mold, as I understand it, Penicillium. But of course, that would be a fungus as well. But I think it's a mold. Penicillium, I think, is considered a mold. And I had some pictures of penicillium, and I'm like, would you ever eat that? And I was like, no, I wouldn't never eat that. So why would you take a pill that has concentrated mycotoxins from it? That is, and who knows in regards of, I do wonder in regards of their laboratories and all that, because the spores are pretty small as well. So I do wonder, when you take a mycotoxins, could that be, in regards of antibiotics and all that, against fungus, against bacteria, could there be any babies in the product as well? I don't know. Could they slip through or something like that? I don't know. Characteristics of fungi. Fungi have well-defined characteristics that set them apart from other organisms. Most multicellular fungal bodies, commonly called molds, are made up of filaments called hyphae. And as I understand it, when they talk about mycelium, so mycelium is like multiple of these hyphals or strings, or they have different names, but I can't remember all of them. But anyway, hyphae can form a tangled network called a mycelium and form the thallus body of fleshly fungi. Hyphae that have walls between the cells are called septate hyphae. Between the cells are called septate hyphae. Hyphae that lack walls and cell membranes between the cells are called non-septate or coenocytic hyphae. So here we have multicellular fungi, molds, form hyphae which may be septate or non-septate. Unicellular fungi, single-cell fungi, yeast cells, form pseudohyphae from individual yeast cells. Septate hyphae and coenzymatic non-septic hyphae, and then we have pseudohyphae yeast cells. Okay, yeah. So it's pretty much, fungi is just pretty much a monster, from a horror movie. In contrast to molds, yeast are unicellular fungi. So again, single-cell fungi, yeah. But we can't, we need to use these. No, anyway. The budding, could we get that away? Let's see here sometimes. The budding yeast reproduces asexual by budding off a smaller daughter cell. The resulting cell may sometimes stick together as a short chain or pseudohypha. And there's a figure apparently someplace. I guess maybe down here or something like that. Maybe we can push on the figure. Let's see. Oh, yeah, okay. Candida albicans is a common yeast that forms pseudohypha. It is associated with various infections in humans, including vaginal yeast infections, oral thrush, and candidiasis of the skin. The problem, as I understand it, if you actually have these symptoms, it might actually already be roaming in your body, in regards to the babies in the blood. But I've seen different sources on that it can actually get from, it seems like from the butthole to the sexual parts, or from the inside of the intestines. If it goes roaming around there, it can plug holes to the blood and begin to sow its seeds or its babies. Anyway, some fungi are dimorphic, having more than one appearance during their life cycle. These dimorphic fungi may be able to appear as yeast or molds. And apparently, it seems like the information says that the fungus form outside is becoming a yeast when it's inside the body in 37 degrees. Yet the Candida albicans seems to be in the body, and yet it makes, and apparently it seems like not everybody have Candida albicans in their body. So apparently you can live without it. I think it was like around 50% of people had it normally in their body. So, but anyway, I don't know if, in regards of all the information, if it's true or not, just the collection of information that I've read and all that. So, that's a huge amount of questions I still have on things, and I guess I don't know if all the questions are actually answered out there. But anyway, but the Candida, as I understand it, when it lives in a low pH in the gut, it usually is in its yeast form. It will settle down in its good form in regards to the yeast, where it seems like the standard thing in regards of the other bad forms that comes from the outside actually turns into a yeast when they're in the body from its fungus form. But the Candida turns from its yeast form, which is in some sense good state, or whatever you want to call it. And when the pH gets higher, if the terrain in the gut is destroyed, it can actually, and it can also itself promote a more pH base. What's it called? This base called? No, it's called something else. A higher pH. A higher. What is it called? I can't even remember the word. But anyway, a higher pH, and that can apparently make it go into its fungal form and thereby begin to make havoc on you. So dimorphic fungi may be able to appear as yeast or molds, which can be important for infectivity. They are capable of changing their appearance. Now, of course, if I say 37 degrees, I mean Fahrenheit. No. Centi. What's it called? I can't even remember that. Just my brain. Anyway, I didn't mean Fahrenheit. I, of course, mean which why can't I even remember that now? But okay. But we use in Europe, we don't use Fahrenheit. That's over in the US. Anyway, they're capable of changing their appearance in response to environmental changes such as nutrient availability or fluctuations in temperature, growing as a mold. And again, also differences in the pH, but they don't seem to, apparently have anything of that nature, have that information. Growing as a mold, for example, at 25 degrees, and as yeast, that's 77 Fahrenheit, and as yeast cells at 37 degrees, 98.6 Fahrenheit, this ability to help dimorphic fungi to survive in diverse environments. Histoplasma capsulatum, the pathogen that causes histoplasmosis, a lung infection, is an example of a dimorphic fungus. Let's see, figure. I guess we'll go into this actually down here. Histoplasma capsulatum is a dimorphic fungus that grows in the soil exposed to bird feces or bat feces. Guano, top left. It can change, that will be up here. It can change forms to survive at different temperatures. In the outdoors, it's typically grow as a mycelium, as hyphas. I guess that would be considered a mold. But anyway, as shown in the micrograph, I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, as shown in the micrograph, bottom left. But when the spores are inhaled, right, it responds to the high internal temperature of the body, 37 degrees or 98.6 Fahrenheit, by turning into a yeast that can multiply in the lungs, causing the chronic lung disease histoplasmosis. Credit modification by work by Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. So we see host-associated form, and we see the spores, which is the babies. It's the seeds and or the eggs of the fungi, again, to illustrate it. And you apparently inhale those babies and go into the lung. And it can also go into the lymph and into the blood, but it will then be in its yeast form, apparently. So, and I guess probably make a lot of havoc for the body. There are notable, seeing people, having been in, living in buildings with mold and all that, it doesn't seem like the world sees as a huge problem. It's like, by the way, we have Conidia spores and we have the hyphas here, by the way. And Conidia is, I guess, one type of spores. You also have other kinds of spores. I'm not entirely sure how but you have chlamydia spores is one of them. In regards to Candida albicans, which I'm primarily concerned about, I think it at least has two, like chlamydia spores, and I think the Conidia spores, which is also called something else as well. So again, you have a huge amount of different words on these things. It's just instead of just making it easy, to explain, how would you explain it to a child? Fungi, spores would be babies, right? Fungi babies. Anyway, there are notable unique features in fungal cell walls and membranes. Fungal cells walls contain chitin, I think it's pronounced, chitin, as opposed to the cellulose found in the cell walls of plants and many protists. I'm not a protist, not sure what. Maybe that's the small organism that I don't know. Probably free living or colonial organism with diverse nutritional and reproductive mode. Protist. Okay. So additionally, whereas animals have cholesterol in their cell membranes, fungal cell membranes have different. Oh no, we have a problem with the connection apparently. Again, I don't know why that would be. There shouldn't be any problem, but the problem is I can't, the program for actually making live recordings and all that. I would have no problem in going to lower resolution and all that, but there's no settings for that. So, the idea of running like 1080 what's it called, greater resolution is pretty much, it's too much. I don't need to have, but any case, apparently, I tried to make a more, but apparently the program doesn't do that. And of course, YouTube are not allowing you to actually use their program because you need to have 10,000 subscribers. And of course, if they just ban you from YouTube when you actually begin to have some wind in your sales, well, then that's pretty much will never happen. Anyway, fungal cell membranes have different sterols. Okay, so whereas animals have cholesterol, and that's the cholesterol they say, oh, cholesterol is so bad. Yet, I think it's all our cells that, have cholesterol. So anyway, that was something in regards to that. So, no, cholesterol is so bad. Well, why does every cell then, have it as a component if it's so bad? Anyway, as I remember, anyway, I might be wrong, but anyway, whereas animals have cholesterols in their cell, actually, there's in their cell membrane. So yeah, just verification. Fungal cell membranes have different sterols called egosterols or egosterols. I think it's something like that. Egosterols. Egosterols are often exploited as target for antifungal drugs, like for example, nystatin that I'm on at the moment. That I began taking, but nystatin only works in the gut, but it's said to be very, very effective. I didn't take the second pill with any food, which is said to maybe get a little atomic, pains, and I do feel a little, but in any case, whatever. So egosterols are often exploited as target for antifungal drugs. Yeah, and of course we have some fungus some of the candidas that is, for example, Candida auris, which is really talked about. If you look on YouTube and all that, it's immune to these antifungals that they have. Now, of course, the medical mafia don't really have that many antifungals in its disposal anyway. But so they're much more concerned in regards of bacterium like this and bacterium like that. Anyway, fungal life cycles are unique and complex. Fungi reproduce sexually, either through cross or self-fertilization. Haploid fungi form hyphae that have gametes or something like that at the tips. Two different mating types represented as plus type and a minus type are involved. The cytoplasms of the plus and minus type gametes fuse in an event called plasmogamy, producing a cell with two distinct nuclei, a dikaryotic cell or something like that. Later, the nuclei fuse in an event called karyogamy to create a diploid zygote. The zygote undergoes meiosis to form spores that germinate to start the haploid stage, which eventually creates more haploid mycelia. Yeah, lots of big words. So here apparently we have zygomycetes have sexual and asexual life circles in the sexual life circle, plus and minus mating types of conjugate to form a zygosporangium. Yeah, big words. And probably just Latin or something like that. Latin bullshit. Maybe some Greek. Zygomycete life cycle. We have mycelia, and then we have the asexual reproduction into spores, germination, and mitosis. Again, I have no, don't ask me about these words. Apparently, germination, mycelia form if the two mating types plus and minus are in close proximity. I actually seen this in a video, but yeah, in close proximity. This is like, for example, underground, for example, in the earth or dirt. Are in close proximity, extensions called gametangia form between them. So I've seen apparently they send out some kind of scent or whatever that they can react on and figure out where the other is, and then Anyway, so we have spores, so it goes down. Okay, so spores and goes to a mating plus type and a mating minus type, and then it goes to two plasmogamy. Fusion between plus and minus mating types result in a zygosporangium with the multiple haploid nuclei. The zygosporangium forms a thick protective coat, and that was something like that they can lay for a long time before it sprouts or something like that. But anyway, number 3, karyogamy. The nuclei fuse to form a zygote with multiple diploid nuclei. For meiosis and germination, a sporangium grows on a short stalk. Haploid spores are formed inside. So sporangium then apparently grows on a short stalk. I guess, as I saw this video, for example, up out of the earth, and then apparently it can mix its spores and then, have more of, yeah. So different ways of apparently, making the babies, I guess. That was also, I think, something in regards of some information from both of them that this type would get some information from, from both of the fungi. So I know it's kind of pretty advanced, how these things functions, it seems. In an event called karyogamy, figure. Depending on the taxonomic group, and that's, I guess, in how to differentiate or something like that. You hear this taxonomic group a lot, there's a lot of words in these. Anyway, these sexual produced spores are known as zygospores or zygomycota, ascospores in ascomycota or basidiospores in basidiomycota. We have another figure apparently. Okay, this image shows asexual produced spores. This bright field micrograph shows the release of spores from a sporangium at the end of a hypha, a string, one of these strings, called a sporangiophore. The organism is a mucor species fungus, a mold often found indoors. B, so that was B number A. You have the hypha, the sporangium, apparently. Hypha called a sporangium. The release of spores from a sporangium at the end of a hyphae. Okay, so apparently can release its spores like from that one. B, sporangia grows at the ends of stalks. I guess at the end of a hypha maybe, or wasn't that? Yeah, but anyway, yeah. Which appear as the white fuzz seen on this white bread mold. Rhizopus stolonifer. The tips of bread mold are the dark spore-containing sporangia. Credit a modification of work by Center of Disease Control and Prevention. Again, that's the thing. If we just prevented things instead and actually told the people about, gave them good information, we didn't need to have this huge, gigantic, hungry, money-hungry system. And a lot of people would also then be able to keep health. But in this diabolical world, we don't really get the information. Actually, we get a lot of confusion out there. And then we get sick, and then we get under the wings of the medical mafia, and they will pretty much, while they take all our resources and our health, they will pretty much murder us at the end. But anyway, instead of actually prevention, they many times it's waiting that the sickness is there, and then they misdiagnose it. And then they give all their filthy drugs, and they're mistreating you, and then you get some more symptoms, and then you can get some more drugs, and they earn earn a lot of money on that. And then of course we have the hospitals where a lot of people work, and doctors and so forward, and it's a good business because it seems like the doctors have more than enough people to, they seem to be very, very busy, If you're going and want to go to an eye doctor, for example, you need to wait for, a huge amount of time before actually. I never got I was told there was a long wait for it, but I was never called in for it, or maybe I missed it or something like that. Apparently we in Denmark have forced the people to not actually have letters in the post mail anymore. So you have like this digital box, just force it on the people. I don't like that. I don't like when the government forces things on the people, which the people are not interested in. One thing is to make the possibility available for the people. Another thing is to just throw it down their throat in some sense, or just force them into it. That's no work. So and that has made a lot of issues for a lot of people, including myself. So yeah. Because I actually like my mail that is important in my mailbox, and not all these advertisings and all that I get. The thing is, in this wicked world, everything is upside down, and everything you don't want in the mailbox, comes in the mailbox, like advertising and advertising and more advertising. And to stop getting the advertising, you need to, use time. You need to talk to them and actually fix information down to actually get a sticker. So you need to wait for the sticker to also, you just it's just hugely. I think they might have changed that now, but it's incredible stupidity. It's just what you want in the mailbox you don't get, And what you don't want, they will fill the mailbox up with, The mailbox is, as it said, for mail, not for advertising, for mail. But anyway, so I can complain about a lot of things in regard to this wicked world, Don't force anyone to do, if you think it's so good a system in regards of using the digital thing and all that, well, let people choose, And yeah, it's just incredible. Don't force it on people. But this is what they do. They just don't care about the people. They just force all that bullshit on the people, and sell out the whole country. Fungi, anyway, it's all going back to the Roman Emperor, and now that the Danish people don't have any idea or don't care who the Antichrist is anymore, now the people are rounding around this, this white, unholy figure, which seems to be one. He sets himself as the world ruler in regards of political power and spiritual power. He sets him up as the father of kings and princes and all that. You can just look at the oath when he's crowned with the triune crown. He's the triune tyrant. Anyway, the network status is poor. I'm sorry if my. But you can still see the images here, so you can still read along if there's something that it doesn't go. I sadly don't have anything better to actually upload to YouTube. There might exist something, but well, I could just try to reconnect, but let's see here. Oh, why is it not opening up the program? Give me a break. What is going on? Just open the... yeah. Kastrup. Åbningstid. Okay, we're on the 3G. Now I'm jumping back to 4G, but of course, 3G, even if it doesn't complain, can have issues apparently. Let's see when it is open in regards of the swimming hole. I think, yeah, it already complains about the... So let's jump back to 4G. Oh, come on. Are we already in there? So hopefully it will be better now. Maybe not, but well, this does seem to still complain. I get kind of tired of the complaining because it shouldn't complain, because there's more than enough data to actually. So it's pretty much bullshit that it complains. I don't know where the bottleneck is, but if it's the application itself or something like that, but there shouldn't be any problem in regards of network connection. Fungi may also what did we get to? Yeah, fungi may also exhibit asexual reproduction by mitosis. Mitosis with budding, fragmentation of the hypha, and the formation of asexual spores by mitosis. These spores are specialized cells that, depending on this organism, may have unique characteristics for survival, reproduction, and dispersal. Fungi exhibit several types of asexual spores, and these can be important in clarification. So, we had this picture pretty much in regards of a little bigger than the other picture that we had, but where you can see it goes asexual reproduction, and then it can make spores, and then it also can goes with the other way of plus and minus, and then it also can make small spores and so forward. In regards of the zygosporangium, I don't think the Candida albicans makes that. I'm not entirely sure. And these image shows asexual produces spores. We also pretty much read that, and we see the black spots on this sporangium is the spores. And so we see here is a dimorphic fungus, a yeast, or a mold. Well, it's not a well, that's a good question. Well, that's a hard one, I guess, because that depends on how it's a fungi, but the yeast can turn into a mold or fungi, and and the mold seems to also be able to turn to a yeast. So it seems a little tricky question. If they consider the molds outside, right? In regards of the things we read over up here in regards of, I think they used the word mold for that, right? Or maybe dimorphic fungus. I can't remember if they didn't use the mold. I think they used the mold somewhere. That some species, maybe it's up here. Some fungi are dimorphic, having more than one appearance during their life cycle. These dimorphic fungi may appear as yeast or molds. There we go, yeast or mold. So they use at least according to them, in regards to mold. So I guess in regards to the molds being outside, and when you take the spores, it become a yeast usually. But again, Candida albicans have a little different way of. And as I understand it, there's a lot of fungi that we haven't really haven't figured out and all that. So even if they say that this is the way, in regards of going from a mold into a yeast, we might have a lot of species that we don't know anything about yet, As I understand it, they had it was like 1.5 million, and they only knew like 7,000 or something like that. That's different numbers from different sources and all that. So I guess it's like in regards to the evolution theory of millions and billions of years, and different sources will give different numbers, But it's around, the Big Bang is around 13.8 billion years, they say. Now it's full of bullshit, but stinking turd and all that, but it's not true. It's just bullshit. The world is around 6,000 years. So, yeah. So, but anyway, it's evolution is a pagan idea. When atheists talks about, oh well, they don't believe in this and that and all that. Well, they're believing atheists because they believe that there's no God that created all the design we see and all the complexity and all the code that we see. And apparently these micro what's it called, scientists, that goes into microbiology, apparently needs this mantra saying to themselves, this is not design, 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 because it looks designed. Maybe it looks designed because it is designed. Anyway, but in any case, it's the funny thing is that atheism usually goes hand in hand with evolution. Of course, Roman Catholicism also have a way of promoting evolution. But Roman Catholicism is paganism anyway, so that's not a big surprise anyway. That makes themselves out to be Christians. Well, that's utter bullshit. If anything, they have been the ones killing off the Christians. That is the most bloody organization in the world. In regards of killing off the saints. But of course, the Roman Catholic Church thinks it has the authority to make saints and all that. And if you look at some of the people they have sainted, it's just it's so diabolic. Anyway, but evolution actually goes back to, you can follow it back to India, long before Darwin made it popular in the West. It's a pagan idea. It's a pagan, it's a pagan satanic lie. Isn't that funny? So if it's not funny, but atheists that believe, that usually believe in evolution, they actually are following pagan ideas. So, not really a big surprise, of course, but stand on the truth and only the truth, and, trash the lies and deceptions, Anyway, fungal diversity. That doesn't matter if 99.9% of the people don't believe something to be true, even if it is true. It's not a democracy, The truth is still the truth. And the lies and deceptions are still the lies and deceptions. It doesn't matter how many people believe it. The truth is the truth and stays the truth. Even if only one person believes it. Anyway, fungal, look at the worldwide flood that came, where we also have all the fossils and the layers and all that around the world. There was only 8 people that survived. The world was reset, like on the computer when you push the reset button. I don't actually know if we actually have that anymore, but on the old computers, you have a turn on and turn off, and then you also had the reset button where you just needed to push it and it would reset the computer. Anyway, and that was pretty much what God seemed to have done, reset. It was totally wicked, this world. We had totally gone astray, so he made a reset. He reset the world, and only 8 people survived. Now, we don't know how many people there were in the past, but it could be a huge, huge number. We have to remember that they were a lot closer to the original code of Adam, and thereby there wouldn't have been so many mutations in the code. As I understand it, we have like 60 to 100 mutations from every generation, at the moment. Anyway, so it adds up over time and so forth. Then, of course, you have the environment that seems to have been different in the past, and everything seems to have been better before the flood in some sense in regards. Well, of course, it seems in regards to how they ended up getting food, or there was a curse and all that. But overall, these people could live over 900 years, and we might get to 100, and we might not even get so far. It's probably only the few that gets to so many years. So anyway, but they lived over 900 or could live over 900 years. That's pretty incredible. Anyway, fungal diversity. The fungi are very diverse, comprising 7 major groups. Not all of the 7 groups contain pathogens. So pathogens is in regards of harmful, forms. Some of these groups are generally associated with plants and include plants pathogens. Again, harmful, fungi. For example, Eurydinomycetes and Eustilagomycetes include the plant rust and smuts. Respectively, these forms form reddish or dark masses. Sorry, I'm just have something on the screen here. There's something on the screen there again. We lost it. Some species have substantial economic impact because of their ability to reduce crop yields. Let's just go a little back here. So, for example, Eurydinomycetes and Eustilagomycetes include the plant rust and smuts, respectively. These form a reddish or dark masses, respectively, on plants as rust, red, or smuts, dark. Some species have substantial economic impact because of their ability to reduce crop yields. And of course, when you have fungi on crops, they make mycotoxins. So again, and if they make mycotoxins at that stage, they probably also make, spores. And if we eat those kind of foods, we would probably eat the poison and the spores, the babies of the fungi. So, and of course, if we are healthy, that might not be a problem, but over time, our health might decline because of the immunosuppressants of the poisons and so forward. And then the babies might at some point maybe, begin to grow in us, and we might get into more and more problems. Glomeromycota includes the mycorrhizal fungi, important symbionts with plant roots that can promote plant growth by acting like an extended root system. The glomeromycota are obligate symbionts. So, there seems to be some of these small organisms that actually is helpful for us. So that is also one of my concerns with actually taking nystatin and maybe diflucan if I can get it. I'm thinking, could it destroy something that actually good for me? But I haven't seen anyone having issues as such with it. But that's one of my concerns. That could it actually destroy something that is actually helpful for me? in the gut. But anyway, now I'm trying it, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Now, of course, the candida could just be resistance to the nystatin, apparently. I found the message that where a guy is talking about that the candida albicans is resistance to nystatin, which is interesting because I've read other places where, in regards of in vivo and in versus in vitro or something like that, in the body versus outside the body. I can't remember which one is which actually, in vivo, in vitro, or something. Anyway, but one of them is in the body and one of them is outside the body. And apparently, according to these sources that I've read, that the candida can become resistant to nystatin, but it's usually only a problem outside, apparently, where they can make the candida resistance to it. It shouldn't be, at least the things that I've read, they say it couldn't be, it shouldn't be a problem in regards of in the gut, but according to this other source that I have, from a guy that apparently, was, one of these, he knew how to check things, and all. He has an education in it, and he had apparently gotten candida albicans and sent it to their different labs and all that to apparently to figure out in regards of resistance and all that. And apparently the only thing that it was actually what is it called? They used this susceptibility in regards of was fluconazole or diflucan, which is the same thing, But anyway, two different words, same thing. So, apparently nystatin, he had done nystatin for 14 days and it didn't work. Apparently it was resistant to nystatin, so that's of course interesting. So anyway, so let's see here. Where did we go to? Some species have substantial economic impact because of their ability to reduce crop yields. Glomeromycota includes the mycorrhizal fungi, important symbionts. And as I understand it, when the fungi live as a symbiont, it's not harmful as such, as I understand it. It actually helps you, as you're feeding it and it's helping you out. So it's like a symbiotic relationship that you have. Anyway, important symbiont with plant roots that can promote plant growth by acting like an extended root system. The glomeromycota are obligate symbionts, meaning that they can only survive when associated with plant roots. The fungi receive carbohydrates from the plant, so here we go again in regards to the fungi loving carbohydrates, So fungi receive carbohydrates from the plant. I saw something in regards from a naturopath, and he was going into, because some say that the candida albicans can survive on fat and so forward, but apparently I don't know if it can actually break these things down. But as I understand it, it is from also the source. He talked about that it's the sugar that fuels the candida. It's really the sugar that seems to be the one that it's like putting fuel on the fire. So yeah. So if you want to stop the progress of the fungi, you need to quit the sugar, and the alcohol as well. I don't know if you have beginning things of candida albicans, I would at the instant stop drinking alcohol, because that stop drinking alcohol, stop smoking, and stop eating sugar, at least go on a very low. But again, because again, if you can catch it early on, you might not get into issues, because it's only if you're feeding it, it's, as far as I can see, it's only going to get worse then. So if you actually can turn the boat around at the beginning, which I had no idea how to do when I got it, when the itch began, and in regards of, the fungus might already have been, going wild for, the issue might actually have been there for years, before it actually got into a issue that I could, but if you can catch it early on, if you find out, this might actually be a fungus problem, well, I would just get on the meat diet pretty much, because that, red meat, that's, as far as I can see, red meat, I wish I knew it 19 years ago. I might have been able to turn the boat totally around at that point, in the beginning. So 19 years with this thing is just, rooted itself on so many levels. If I just had known this in regards of and that itch just made me totally, the itch was just unbearable, and it's like it makes you mad, it makes you crazy. It's like it's the itch, and it's just sitting there on, and you cannot do anything about it. It's like, well, in regards of going to a hot tub actually helped, or drinking more beer actually also helped. It seems like when you're feeding it a little beer, it would actually stop the itch for, but of course then it would come again, and seemingly harder, after you had fed it alcohol. I'm not sure how the relationship is in regards of Candida albicans and alcohol, but there's absolutely seems to be a relationship, and it seems to be pretty valid that people are in acceptance that if you want to get over fungus, you need to stop drinking, And again, this is pretty serious. This is not, this is not just, it can really wreak havoc. It's really a dangerous thing, if you don't get it under control. So I would just go to the meat diet pretty much, only eating red meat, and trying to see if I could get it a more natural source of red meat, natural food for the cows and all that, and not being put on all these, antibiotics and all that crap, and not having it slaughtered to Allah, being food sacrificed to a false god and so forward, and see if one could find some sources to buy from natural sources, or maybe a direct line. In the U.S. apparently there's some places where you can actually, where some of these people really goes into, I guess you could probably also come out to them and look at the things. But in any case, you just need to be able to find one source that you can trust, and then you can buy from that, That's and I wish I knew this 19 years ago. I really wish I knew. It would have, again, I would probably have been able to turn around the boat. I'm not sure if I'm able to turn around the boat now. But I'm not dead yet. But, yeah. And I guess that's one of the reasons why I tried nystatin, and apparently the doctors closed the door for diflucan. But I have 14 days while I'm taking nystatin to see if I can get diflucan, and hopefully I'll find someone and try it out. And afterwards, of course I have the natural antifungals as well, but I'm thinking of trying to see if I can buy the antifungals from the guy in New Zealand, I think, a naturopath that has made his product. He says it's pretty, he has a lot of things in it, so you don't need to, what is it called, rotate things and all that. Because the thing is, the fungi has a way of, becoming resistant and not being what is it called? This big word, not becoming susceptibility for the things. Well, anyway, so he designed this natural product of different natural things, so you have it like in one package, but it's pretty expensive as well. And I don't know if getting it into the country might be, so even if it's already expensive to get, it might even become even more expensive to get in the country. So it might actually be a huge amount, but yeah, anyway. Of course, again, the next thing is to try to figure out if anyone have diflucan that I could try out. And then, and hopefully, we'll just have to see. Anyway, let's get back to it. Some species have substantial economic impact because of their ability to reduce crop yields. Glomeromycota includes the mycorrhizal fungi. Important symbionts with plant roots that can promote plant growth by acting like an extended root system. The Glymeromycota are obligate symbionts, meaning they can only survive when associated with plant roots. The fungi receives a carbohydrates from the plant, and the plant benefits from the increased ability to take up nutrients and minerals from the soil. So again, here we see the symbiotic thing, the plant giving it sugar and it giving it nutrients and minerals from the soil, or making it easier to absorb those. The chytridiomycete are small fungi but extremely ecological important. Chytrids are general aquatic and have flagellated motile gametes. No idea, but anyway. Specific types are implicated in amphibian declines around the world. Because of their medical importance, we will focus on Zygomycota, Ascomycota, Basidiomycota, and Microsporidia. We have a figure apparently. I guess that will probably come down the line. Credit Ascomycota, modification of work by Dr. Lucilla George, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. I'm all in for prevention. Credit Microsporidia, modification of work by Centers of Disease Control and Prevention. If you can prevent something and you don't need to go to one of these white coat murderers, I think that would be if you don't need to go to the hospital and all that, that would be the best thing that you could do. But of course, they're destroying our food sources on so many levels. I can't even get raw milk in Denmark, I might be able to in regards of, I need to travel over 100 kilometers to get raw milk. And I don't know in regards to those sources, in regards to the raw milk, what they are feeding the cows and all that. I have to check that as well. Apparently, you can get out on the farm and get a trip out of it as well. That sounds pretty. Might be pretty. Might be pretty good. And ask some questions and get some raw milk and all that. But it's still 100 kilometers away. Now, if I had a car, that might not have been a problem, but. It's not because the people don't want to sell raw milk, those that actually, it's because of the government and their diabolical bullshit, Oh, milk is just the worst thing in the world, apparently, There's much other bullshit, People have been drinking milk for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Maybe it's because you're treating the cows wrongly and doing all this bullshit because of money, and you want quantity before quality, and you're feeding them antibiotics and hormones and whatever. What is this bullshit world? And then you give them milk, the product that comes out of the cow. Then you give that it's the most dangerous thing and all blah blah blah, and then you give it a Hitler treatment and killing off the living Jews in the milk. It's just incredible with the Holocaust treatment, warming it up. It's incredible. So on so many levels, Instead of actually they're going to the symptom. Oh, we have some problems with the milk. Oh, let's just, warm it up and do this pasteurization and destroy the enzymes, the bacteria, the good bacteria, and the vitamins and so forward and all that, and pretty much, just destroy the milk even more. It's just incredible how diabolical we can be. God made the cows. God made them make a good product, to the calf and all that, and as food. There's also the immune system, as I understand it, in the milk itself that actually also can help against sickness and all that. But let's just warm it up and ruin it even more. What is this madhouse? Is this a mad world? It's like all bacteria is bad. No, it's not. Bacteria have a way of actually keeping the fungi in check in the gut. And if the police is not there, they have a tendency to go wild. Anyway, here we have select groups of fungi. Group Ascomycota. Characteristics: septate hypha, ascus with ascospores and ascocarp, cornidiospores. Examples: Cob fungi, edible mushrooms, morels, truffles, neurospora, penicillium. By the way, in regards to the issues down or below the belt and all that, again, just keeping to the meat seems to be the best thing to just, totally stop it. But of course now I have other problems and all that. But yeah, if for example, the yogurt that it seems to have some reaction on that as well. I guess there still must be some sugar in the yogurt. But anyway, it's weird that just cutting off all food except red meat seems to actually works the best. Well, that is the best. That's what works. And again, I wish I knew that for 19 years ago. So if you have an itch that is unbearable, try the meat. Just try it for some days. Pretty much water and meat. See how it goes. You will. If the itch stops, you will notice. Medical important species: Aspergillus species, Triphyton species, Microsporum species, Epidermophyton species, Blastomyces dermatitidis, and Histoplasma capsulatum. We have an image of Aspergillus niger, and if I remember correctly, Aspergillus, but let's just close this. We probably have a bigger version down there, a little further down. Let's see if it comes around. No. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so it's just further down the line. We'll check at that point. I will be bigger on the screen as well. Where did we go? There we go. So, well, we have the Basidiomycota, the Microsporidia, and Zygomycota. But anyway, I'll take it when we get down there because it's much bigger on the figure down there. Summarizes the characteristics of these medical importance groups of fungi. No, that's okay. So that's the 4 groups of fungi that we will focus on, apparently. How they have divided the things up, But, whatever. The zygomycetes are mainly saprophytes with coenocytic hypha and haploid nuclei. I think in regards to saprophytes, that was something in regards of eating decaying things, I think. Let's try to copy it and see if we have an organism that feeds on dead organic matter, especially a fungus or bacterium, a saprophytic organism. Yeah, okay. Oh, let's see. Saprophyte. Yeah, a saprophyte. So saprophyte. It's weird that you need to actually fight with the medical system, but of course, I guess they don't want what is it called? Out of the balloon. What is it called? That's a saying in regards. They don't want the rabbit out of the hat. I guess that would be one way of saying it. I guess they don't want the truth out in the open, and then you end up fighting with these white coat murderers, ignorant butchers, pretty much. These Latin spousers. About giving you some antifungals, and they don't want you to give you antifungals, then they want to have you on psychotropic drugs. What insanity world are we living in? In my youth, when I didn't know much and all that, I'm getting more, after the years and all that, but the doctor was like an authority figure, right? So. Any case, what does my, itching down there, in my penis have to do with getting psychotropic drugs, doctor? It's the wrong head you're treating, you stupid idiot, I'm sorry, it's just, but that's just stupid, it's like, hey, it's like turning things upside down. Hey, it's the head downwards. It's not the head upward that is the issue, you know? Yeah, but you kind of, sad and, yeah, of course you're affected by it, you know? What would you expect if you have issues down there and it's driving you nuts? Don't you think you would be, So instead of fixing the cause, you try to fix a symptom that's just utterly, and actually make it just worse, because there's a lot of side effects with these stupidities. What is wrong with you guys? What is wrong with you people? Have you lost the sanity? Sanity have just gone down the window apparently. And I guess you need to have a long education to have your sanity lost, totally broken down, and I don't know. But then you begin to figure out what is, the issue and all that, and then you need to fight with these white coat doctors. These white coat, whatever you want to call them, these, Latin spouters, about, hey, could I try this? It's like, no, it's like you're just insane that you would like to try, antifungals. Yeah. So the Zygomycota, what did we actually get to? Anyway, the Zygomycota or the zygomycetes are mainly saprophytes with coenocytic hypha and haploid nuclei, and I'm still not sure what this haploid thing is and all that. But again, as time goes and then I'm reading one book after another or whatever, I guess I'll haploid of a cell or organism having a single cell set of chromosomes. Okay. But again, I'm not entirely sure what that means. We have some in regards to chromosomes and all that, but I'm not that yeah. So haploid nuclei. They use sporangiospores for asexual reproduction. The group name comes from the zygospores that they use for sexual reproduction. See the figure here. Okay, that'll be pretty much the same figure. Okay. Which have hard walls formed from the fusion of reproductive cells from two individuals. Zygomycetes are important for food science and as crop pathogens, in regards to harmfulness. If you go into the Danish website of food administrations, which are some of those that are the policemen of not letting raw milk go out to the public, and they have all these stupidities rules of the man of the milk of the, he's only allowed to sell 70 liters. It's like, why is he only allowed to sell 70 liters of raw milk? What's the idea with that? They just, he's only allowed to sell 70 liters. What bullshit is this, What is this, what is like wicked world, Only allowed to sell 70, and it needs to be cooled down at the instant that it's taken out of the cow. And when you cool it down, at the instant when you actually take it down, what do you do with the probiotic, the bacteria that is in the milk? You cool them down. And what happens when you cool them down? They become less active. So, anyways, just stupidity. It's actually interesting when we buy yogurt and all that, and it's cooled down, and I'm like, we put it in the fridge when we come home, and I'm like, why are we actually putting it in the fridge? If it's yogurt and there's living bacteria in it, why not just let it stand outside? Because then it will just, sour it even more, and while it's sour, it makes it better against bad pathogens, bad harmful, bacteria, harmful things. And then it will actually just produce more of the bacteria, of the good guys. So I'm not sure why we're actually putting in the fridge when we, anyway. It's kind of weird, it's kind of weird. It's not, when we buy yogurt at the market, it's usually not soured that long, so anyway. One example is let's see here. Science and crop pathogens. In regards to this Danish food administration, I never got to the point, I think. they actually tell you that in regards to mycotoxins can actually lead to cancer. Oh, really? That's the example they give, and they say cancer and other things. So by ingesting mycotoxins, which is a poison from fungi, you can actually get cancer. I wonder what cancer could be. Oh, what could cancer possibly be? Anyway, one example is Rhizopus stolonifer. We already seen that. Okay. An important bread mold that also causes rice seedling blight. I can't remember what that blight is. I guess maybe a discolorization, or maybe, I don't know. Mucor is a genus of fungi that can potentially cause necrotizing infections in humans. Potentially cause necrotizing. I have no idea. Could we speak English? No, we apparently not. Enteritis characterized by bloody diarrhea and severe abdominal pain. An acute inflammation. And that with regards of itis, in Latin, you have all these names of different itis. And itis is just a word for inflammation, as I understand it. But of course, they use these big words because they couldn't speak English, could they? Or Danish, or whatever. An acute inflammatory disease occurring in the intestines of the premature infants. Necrosis or intestinal tissue may follow. Okay. So necrotizing infection in humans, although most species are intolerant of temperature found in mammalian bodies. Mammalian bodies, is that in regards of mammals? Of relating to the class of Mammalia. Any warm-blooded vertebrate having the skin more or less covered with hair, young or born alive, except for the small subclass of monotremes and nourished with milk. I wish I had some meat. Sadly, I don't have any meat in my. I do have some yogurt that I could eat, but again, I rather the meat is it's medicine. Meat is medicine. It's just red meat is just the best. That's the best food source that I've found. And when people try to demonize red meat and all that bullshit, what other bullshit, and then they lead you away from something that is utterly wonderful. I was led into this vegetarian way of lifestyle, and I didn't want to eat meat and so forward. Yeah, I just did it worse for myself. Having a fungal infection and just being led away from meat that actually is positive, it has to be diabolical, It's very sad that these people are doing these things to other people. I think it's, hey, okay, it might help for some people, but just don't demonize, meat is not bad. Meat is, you just have to, of course, we want the animals to have it good, right? We want the animals that is, we want them to have natural food sources. We don't want the animals to have all these, antibiotics, which is just, fungus poison that kills all bacteria and might actually make infections in the cows as well. That might be a problem when you're eating them or drinking the milk and all that. So of course we want the animals to have it good, and we want to not have have all this unnatural stupidity of man put on them, and we want them to have a good life. But until we kill them, But meat is not a bad food source. I cannot praise red meat more enough. It's just. I wish I knew it 19 years ago, and I would have been on the meat at the instant, and I would probably, hopefully, at that. Well, of course, it's too late now, but I would probably. I'm thinking that would be a good possibility that I could have turned around the boat, because the system, I was a lot younger, and my immune system would probably have been a lot better at that point as well, and to make the body actually begin to heal itself and actually get this bugger under control. And of course, I could maybe have helped it with some, some other, if I knew these things. And I'm still trying to learn and all that. But the thing is, it's pretty much too late now, right? So, but of course, there's probably other people out there that actually gets into these issues, and and let the truth be prevail to help these people, so they don't need to go through these, this suffering and these weird symptoms that the doctors have no idea, because, they're pretty much keeping their, what is it called, money gold in some sense. What is it called? They're hiding the issue. They're hiding the issue because they earn a lot of money by treating symptoms, and instead of treating the cause. So they're hiding the cause away from the people, and and treating the symptoms, because this is big business. Actually, very, very big business. Actually, might be one of the biggest businesses in the world, I wonder. Like the military as well, probably also pretty big business as well. But the medical mafia, I do wonder I wonder if that is actually the biggest business in the world. I don't know. That is a huge amount of money, that's for sure. In Denmark, we have the golden calf, as they call it, or something like that in Denmark. It earns twice the amount of 3 other huge companies, like Lego, Carlsberg, and Maersk. Now, these companies are huge. These are gigantic companies, and yet we have one single thing that makes, for what's it called, diabetes and all that earns twice the amount of these 3 together. It's incredible. It's really big business. What is that? That was weird. I wonder if that was a bird or something like that. That was weird. Oh, might have been a bird. No. It's like, a white thing flowing in the air. Huh. Anyway. So. And I guess that's one of the good things as well. We see more and more truth. We have a lot of deceptions and lies out there, but, some are chewing through the bullshit, and it's incredible how disgusting this world is, that we would actually, and I don't understand how people can defend these companies, and say it's just what is it called? I can't remember what word they use. But if you have a company based on lies and deceptions, that's not okay. That doesn't make it okay just because we are. I can't remember that word that is used. In there to earn money and all that. You don't earn money on being deceptive and lying and all that, and that's just disgusting. And murdering people. That's utterly disgusting. That should never be acceptable. That is absolutely what is it called, this way? I guess in regards to the US, they have this way of doing things and all that. But I don't think there's any way of defending, doing what they do. Just because they need to earn money and blah blah blah. It's outrageous. It's utterly outrageous. Anyway, as the Ascomycota include fungi that are okay. The Ascomycota include fungi that are used as one of the categories, I guess. Are used as food, eatable mushrooms, morels, and truffles. Other that are common causes of food spoilage, bread molds, and plant pathogens, and still others that are human pathogens. Ascomycota may have septate hypha and cup-shaped fruiting bodies called ascocarps. Some genera of Ascomycota use sexual produced ascospores as well as asexual spores called conidia. But sexual phases have not been discovered or described for others. Some produces an ascus containing ascospores within the ascocarp. And we have, okay. I said that's another, what is this? This bright field micrograph shows aerospores being released from the asci in the fungus Taloromyces flavus. I guess variation flavus or something like that. I guess variation, I'm not sure. This electron micrograph shows the Conidia spore, the spores, born on the conidiophore of Aspergillus. And Aspergillus, I think that's the mold that it's like, that's one of the Aspergillus that there's apparently different variations of it, but one is like 90% of the sicknesses in regards to this mold is this species. But anyway, a type of toxic fungus found mostly in soil and plants. This bright field micrograph shows the yeast Candida albicans. That's, where do we see Candida albicans? This bright field micrograph shows the yeast Candida albicans, over number 3 here. It doesn't have that many strings in this picture for sure. And Trosh. I think that's a bad picture actually. But anyway, credit ABC modification of work by Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. But I guess it just shows the spores, the Conidia spores, or I'm not entirely sure. Nucleus? No, is it just the yeast form here? Or it might be just the yeast form of Candida albicans. It's showing. Okay. Anyway, ascos containing ascospores within an ascoscarp. Okay, we pretty much did that, didn't we? Or wasn't that well? Yeah, okay. Examples of ascomycota include several bread molds and minor pathogens, as well as species capable of causing more serious mycosis. Species in the genus Aspergillus are important cause of allergy, and infection. I do wonder in regards to the nystatin as well. I saw this guy 1, 2, 3, 4, and he said, on the second day he got really, really tired. But of course, I've taken one before I went to sleep, in the beginning of the day, according to, biblical time. And then I've taken one now when I woke up, and then I'm going to take probably 2 more. It doesn't, at least now, it doesn't seem like it's too harsh. But he talked about the second day was, where he was totally, he was tender, and he was, he didn't have energy and so forward. So, we'll have to see what happens. So, and maybe I should try the fluent form as well, just to see, and mix that into it as well, in some sense. I'm not sure if that is so smart in the beginning. Maybe I should wait some days with that, just to see how I react to the capsules, and then take it from there. So anyway, just to see if there's nothing that, and then if I take the other, if I didn't get something else, so then I have some kind of knowledge what is. But anyway, let's see. And then in 7 or 14 days, probably 14 days, I would be ready to take the diflucan. If I can get it. That's the problem. I have some sources that, in regards of maybe the dentist or some, anyway, I'll have to call around and try to figure out if, some more, maybe check in regards of Greece. If I can actually get it from Greece, they might actually be able to send it by mail. And that might come actually pretty quickly if I, the things that I ordered for Germany was very, very quickly to come. It didn't. Actually, I was surprised that it actually came so quickly. I have expected it to, I expected it like tomorrow, like on Monday or Thursday, but it came on Friday. That's pretty good, So species in the genus Aspergillus are important causes of allergy and infection and are useful in research and in production of certain fermented alcoholic beverages such as the Japanese saga, I guess, saga. The fungus Aspergillus flavors a contaminant of nuts and stored grains, produces an aflatoxin that is both a toxin and the most potent known natural carcinogen in regards to getting cancer. So you have to ask yourself, what is cancer? That produces cancer. And that is one of the things, as I understand it, they inject mice or rabbits or maybe also what do you call it? Rats, so mice, rats, and rabbits, as I understand it, with mycotoxins, fungus poison, and then they get, cancer or diabetes, and and of course we have this big gigantic diabetes in Denmark company that is very proud of this and that and all that, and apparently they have a customer thing and all, and I actually have written them and they actually wrote back, and I didn't ask them the question that I'm just leading up to it, So apparently they seem to think that I'm concerned about the animals. Now, of course, that would of course be a concern as well, but that's not the primary thing that I'm going for. So they gave me information in regards of, we'll try to not, but there's some rules and all that. But at least now they have verified to me that they actually use animals to test on, because I was asking in regards of, do you use animals to test, your products and all that? And yep, they do that. That apparently is something they need to do. So the next question will be, how do you get diabetes in the animals, How do you make diabetes in the mouse or the rats, and what animals are you using and so forward, and let's see if they want to answer that. Because, it would be interesting if they wanted to, if they would actually tell me that. I found someone that also worked at that place. It's funny how coincidence, keep on coming up in regards of, but he didn't really want to answer it, apparently. He said they just had I could go and ask them in regards to the apartment. So I guess, being a big company, there might be many different, things they do. Anyway, Neurospora crassa is a particular use in genetics research because the spores produced by, did we actually, so let's take that again. The fungus Aspergillus flavors a contaminant of nuts and stored grains, produces an aflatoxin that is both a toxin and the most potent known natural carcinogen, in regards of making cancer. Also, nuts, as I understand it, can be, that is from the gut guy that had issues with the gut, and, he knew he had issues with the gut. It was pretty, and I didn't understand that it might actually be a gut problem in the first place, in regards of the Candida albicans might actually have already been, the gut might already have been in, in unnatural state, in an imbalance. I think they call it not unbalance, apparently imbalance. It might actually already have been in an imbalance, so again, that the Candida went from being in the gut into being in my penis, or making the issue, because some say that you can actually have the Candida on different places without actually giving any problems. At least not visible or anything that you actually are. But there might actually be things that the Candida actually do to you without you actually noticing. I think that in regards of making issues for your skin, for example, I can see, spreading and all that, and I'm getting all these spots on my skin, which I never had before. I know some people have these, skin damage. I'm not sure what it is overall. There's different, some believe that these spots actually comes from oxidation. If you have oil, if you intake oxidated oil and all that, because of, I can't remember what the word is. But I'm thinking in regards of mycotoxins as well, might actually also be able to, because these are some of the most poisonous things, and anyway, what is it called? Radical damage. What's it called? I think it's called radicals. You have these antioxidants, right? And you use actually antioxidants against these radicals. And if you have oxidation of oil, no, not radical in that way. Radicals. Maybe I'm apparently writing it wrong. Radical. Maybe I'm remembering wrong. Radicals. No. I could probably find out in regards, but hopefully people understand what I mean. I might not get the word right. What is it called? Radicals? Radicals? Isn't it radicals called radicals? Antioxidant is, maybe I can just, 2 seconds. Antioxidant against damage from oxidation. Free radicals. Oh, there we go. From free radicals. So you take antioxidants against free radicals. Now, so in regards of oxidation of oils and all that, if you take that, some believe that is what the spots are in the skin. But I think that might actually be, sometimes there's more causes to something. For example, floaters. As far as I can understand in regards of floaters in the eyes. Floaters in the eyes can be fungus, as I understand it, but it seems to be also can have other things. A floater is not just a floater. It might be candida, it might be something else. So just because you have floaters doesn't mean that it's the same thing. I've listened to these different people with floaters, and it doesn't seem like it's the same thing. And some say that when they take diflucan, that their floaters begins to disappear. And I'm like, okay. I also I had 2 on the forum on Facebook telling me that after they went on the antifungal diet of Dr. Kaufman, as I understand it, and because that's the forum and all that, and antifungals and all that their floaters actually disappeared. That they don't actually have floaters anymore. So they had floaters, but they don't have them anymore. What did my white coat murderer tell me? Well, everybody has floaters. Yeah, you're born with floaters. Oh, really? Really? So that's why I didn't have them before they actually came around. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. And of course they don't understand, hey, those floaters looks like Candida albicans. I was like, it's just in your head. You're just crazy. It's like sitting there and telling you about your things, and they just, wipe it out and say, it's just nothing. It's just everybody's born with floaters. Funny enough, I felt it like go up in my body, after the itch and all that over the years and all that. I felt it like coming up. I was at the time of when I was, on the foundation for electrician and all that. I remember I was, I remember one of the last parts of that foundation. I remember, now it's just going for the head, and I knew I just needed to, get it, over and finish this, because I felt, what will happen if it actually, takes over my, I felt like I had beginning to have trouble in regards of using my brain, and and I remember also in regards to, I was really good at multitasking on the computer and all that, and that pretty much, I'm still having this thing where I have a lot of tabs open, but I remember like feeling like that I had really trouble of actually doing what I did before. Now, of course, I guess when you get into this normal mode and live with it for many, many years, you forget how it actually was in the past. So again, who knows if I actually can get to a normal state again. If I will realize how bad I actually. But anyway, whatever. So radicals, free radicals. So that's as far as I can see in regards. I think there might be a thing in regard, because when the fungi has roamed around and moved around in my body, it seems there's a correlation between the explosion of spreading and also in regards of these spots on my skin, which and the itch and all that, and the pain, whatever. In any case, so, and the heat. Of course, these things are like, looking at what people get from these different fungus and all that. The symptoms pretty much points to the direction of being fungus. I'm just getting more and more of these weird symptoms that the doctors have no idea of how to fix. And then you come up to them and tell them, hey, could I try this fungus, protocol and try that out? And they pretty much just kick you out of the, it's incredible. And want you on psychotropic drugs. What is wrong with these people? This is totally demonic. It's just insane. Here you use 19 years to do their job, which they actually should have known how to do, because they are the ones that actually are educated, right? In it. And then then they just make things worse and are pretty much worthless, pretty much totally incompetent. And then you figure out what it is and give a solution. It might work. That might work. Not saying that it will work, but it might work because you have diflucan you already have a 7% chance of the Candida albicans being resistant to it. It only have like 93% of susceptibility. I think I got the word this time. That means that it's not resistant to it. And thereby I know that this might not work, but let's give it a go, And then they just kick you out of the office in pretty much, and tell you that you are not case, pretty much. In their words, what was it called? They had this big word of, pretty much just making things up. They think I'm a nutcase, It's just you get put in the category of being a nutcase. And I actually have it in written. I remember feeling that was how they looked at me in the past. And I think I concluded correctly in regards to that. But now I also have it in written form by the last white coat doctor. He wrote it in writing to me over, and I just so now I have it unwritten that what they believe in regards. So totally incompetent. I don't put much value in that system, and I just want them to actually just prescribe what I want to try out. And if they want to help me as wingman, great. But but pretty much you're pretty much on your own, And if you're not on your own and you go by the medical system, they might just destroy you even more. If you're just following their lead. Oh, you just need some, psychotropic drugs. Oh, really? I thought it was in regards of my itching penis and not in regards of my head that was the problem. So apparently, how does that go on, Okay, so I might be a little affected that I have an itching penis that drives me nuts. And I'm maybe a little sad about that, but isn't that pretty natural to have, So you're actually going to go after the symptom instead of the cause. It's just incredible. How stupid are these people? And actually, they should have known that that it could probably lead back to the gut. And never was I told to change my diet. of any of these. Any of these doctors that I went to, never did anyone ask me to change my diet. I don't remember once that any one of these white coat Latin spouters told me, hey, maybe you should change your diet, try that out. So I never at that point saw the link that it might actually be, who knows in regards to food. Why would food change anything, right? And why would my lifestyle change anything, Well, it actually has a big part in it, right? So, examples of also when you tell them about, it has some in regards of, when I eat this, it seems to, in regards to meat, and I remember one, actually in some sense the last guy said, I'm telling him that it, in regards to the itch down there, it helped to eat meat only. And he was like, then it has nothing to do with fungus. What? One statement after another where it's just totally incompetent. I'm like, I have to be kidding me. Is there sugar in meat? No. What does fungus love? Sugar. Okay, so if you take sugar out, and there might actually be something in the meat that actually is helpful. Couldn't, give me a break. Give me a break. Totally incompetent. Examples of Ascomycota include several bread molds and minor pathogens, harmful organisms, as well as species capable of causing more serious mycosis. And mycosis, regards of fungal infection, we don't talk English here, apparently. Species in the genus Aspergillus are important causes of allergy and infection and are useful in research and in the production of certain fermented alcoholic beverages such as Japanese sake. I do wonder how that, they actually use mold to make this beverage. Oh, wow. Anyway, fungus Aspergillus flavors a contaminant of nuts and stored grains. Again, so nuts, I do wonder what kind of, peanuts apparently can be contaminated, as I understand it, but I don't know, they dry the nuts, I don't know how, which you should probably, but as I understand it, nuts also has a lot of they have a lot of, the gut guy, we actually never got, the gut guy talks about that nuts is very hard to break down for the body. They have a lot of anti-nutrients or something like that, I think it was called. I don't know about that, but that's what he said in regards of having I think it was called anti-nutrients. Let's just see on the computer here. Maybe I should open another one. Anti-nutrients. And then nuts. So, and of course he had issues directly with his gut. So, so he had really issues with the nutrients. Anti-nutrients not anti-nutrients harmful. I think it was anti-nutrients that he talked about. That there's a lot of things in the nuts that is hard to break down for the gut. Now he knows a lot more in regards to the gut than he had huge amount of problems in regards to the gut that I don't have. I don't have the problems that he have on this, but apparently a lot of people have totally where the gut is totally totally problems with their gut. And so he talks about inflammation and all that of the gut and how to restore it and all that. And then he have tried to find the less problem, the foods that are less inflammation in regards to the gut. And he talks about nuts being, having anti-nutrients and hard for the body to break down and all that. So he has some interesting things for sure. But again, he's living it, so he should know how his body reacts on these things. So, and again, it's probably not the same. He might not have had a candida infection in the body. He might, who knows? It might only have been in his gut, or I don't know. But again, different fingerprints and all that. So again, one have to take that into consideration as well. So yeah. But what he has researched and figured out, I can probably use for myself to make it also, Yeah. Anyway. So just trying to figure out, but I've been at it for a long time, and it's yeah. Yeah. And very sad that I went down to the bakery. I should really have known better than to fall off the wagon. I had figured out that meat was good for me, and then I fell off the wagon and went to the bakery. That has to be one of the most stupid things that I've done. And it just exploded. I fed it for 5 days, and then it just exploded further. And what would I have expected? Feeding the fungi, and then so. Again, now I have the itch, everywhere pretty much. Besides actually being able to control it in my penis, which is pretty nice, because that was really horrible. But now I just have it, So finding a thing and then making it's just incredible. It's a never-ending process. It seems like it's just a roller coaster going down, down, down. And again, if I just knew these things in the beginning, I would probably have been able to turn things around. I think that would have been a good chance for that. I don't know now, I really don't know how, if it's possible for me to turn things around. I know how I can make things better now, but but I don't know how to turn things around. Well, maybe the diflucan and the nystatin will work, and some more natural antifungals and all that. I know what the issue is now. I know it's Candida albicans that is the issue. That is this, hidden cause that the white coat murderers have no idea. Apparently, that is an issue for the people. I'm not the only one. So, but they're just letting it. They're just blinding the eyes. But anyway, getting back to it, I just wish. But anyway, maybe the information will help someone else. Who knows? When I begin to get more, I'll just put the information out there too, and hopefully it will be. If someone gets the itch and all that, he will be able to try it out. If it works, it works, and then he maybe can actually already turn the boat around by just by doing that. Because the body is not so much infected at that point. So the body might actually be able to overtake it, overtake this pathogen, as they call it, this harmful, The fungus Aspergillus flavus, a contaminant of nuts and stored grains, produces an aflatoxin that is both a toxin and a most potent known natural carcinogen. And of course, we know when people live in places with mold as well, they can get cancer as well. So again, here we see the, I guess cause and effect as well. And if you're drinking at the same time as well and eating a lot of sugar and, all of the things just makes for getting issues with fungus. So, yeah. And the stupidity. How do you know that you are, in good health? Well, if you're sick, you're sick. You feel sick, right? So it's like, it's just stupid. How they make people think, oh, they're totally all right, even if they say they're not all right, and make no problems with you. You're just making it up in your head and all that. It's just bullshitters. Well, outrageous bullshitters. So Neurospora crassa is a particular used in genetics research because the spores produced by meiosis are kept inside the accues in a row that reflects the cell divisions that produce them, giving a direct view of segregation and assortment of genes. These ascospores lined up with an ascus are produced sexually. Okay. Is that like the spores in the lined up within an ascus? Okay, I guess this is the ascus, and then the things in it are the spores, the babies of the fungi. Penicillium produces the antibiotic penicillin. Oh, they always have to pride themselves about this. Oh, the penicillin that has so-called saved the world. Well, actually, it's done the opposite. But anyway, yeah. So, but they are so proud, it seems, to say, oh, we have these molds that makes, these antibiotics and all that. And that's, of course, what they want to give you. It's just, and the risk of getting cancer is, as I understand it, the more antibiotics you take, the higher the risk of cancer. Oh, really? Well, are you taking? Well, you're taking fungus poison. Yeah. So if you're in the environment of fungus, you have a greater chance to get cancer, and you also have a greater chance of getting cancer if you take mycotoxins. And again, I don't know in regards to the mycotoxins if there actually could be spores in them. When they, take off the mycotoxins away from, when they divide it, apparently they have these places, I've seen some of these, where they apparently have the the fungi or the mold in this incubator or whatever, and they feed it with sugar, as I understand it, if I remember correctly. They feed it with sugar so it grows even more, and then afterwards they take the mycotoxin from the mold, and then they make these antibiotics. But the thing is, the mold would probably also make spores, right? Fungi babies. And I do wonder if those fungi babies actually might end up in the product themselves. I don't know. But if you have a huge amount of fungus poison given to you, and you also have some spores, and you might get the spores from other places, just in your daily life, and then you just get a high dose of fungus poison, well, is it a surprise that you would heighten your chance or your risk of actually getting cancer, of getting a fungus infection? Well, no, I don't think so. Anyway, I think that makes sense, pretty much sense. Anyway, many species, we're closing to 8 o'clock, then they open in the swimming, and I really should go down there and swim some tracks. I don't know how to, I have issues with my back as well, but I'm not entirely sure. Of course, all the issues get, you get attacked from so many, but I don't know. I think that might be another problem in regards to the back, and my joints and all that. That seems to be another, another angle of, might not be in regards of Candida albicans. Now, of course, Candida albicans, if the Candida albicans are taking my nutrients and thereby, stealing my things and all that, and actually poisoning me at the same time because of the mycotoxins. The Candida albicans makes, as I understand it, like 75 mycotoxins, as I understand it, they have found, or something like that. 17, a lot of poisons they put out in the body that suppress the immune system and all that. It has a lot of ways of actually, going around our immune system and actually ruining our, and so forward. It's really bad, and but of course that would of course be taken into consideration why I maybe if it's taking my nutrients, of course it will make it harder for the body to actually keep it rolling, right? So and that of course would affect overall other things. So yeah. Incredible. So, hopefully we can turn things around, because this is stupid. You can see how the system is failing people on so many levels. On so many levels, you see people being, not getting the help they need. Not getting the information they need, and not getting the help, and not getting the, it's just, and actually pretty much the opposite. Actually, the system seems to be fine-tuned to actually keep you away from making you healthy and fine-tuned to making you sick. It's just turning things upside down. It's just totally diabolic. Anyway, so let's go further here. I'm speaking a lot here, but I'm getting I'm getting kind of it's frustrating. It's really frustrating that I had to live down through these years with these things, when just having, giving the right information and the right ways of treatment, that I could probably have had a life without it, and not being not wasting a huge amount of my life trying to figure out what is wrong, and yeah, anyway, and being put in the nutcase box as well, Anyway, many species of ascomycetes, are medical important. An ascomycetes, wasn't that like a fungus, what was it called? A fungi sac or something like that. I think it was ascomycetes. And actually also there's something called mycetomas, which is also a sac of some kind. Ascomycotia. Yeah, it's some kind of a sac thing. But anyway, many species of ascomycetes are medical important. A large number of species in the genera Trichophyton, Microsporum, and Epidermophyton and Dermatophytes, or something like that. Pathogenic fungi, harmful fungi, harmful, yeah, pretty much. Harmful fungi capable of causing skin infections such as athlete's foot, jug itch, and ringworm. Blastomyces dermatitis is a dimorphic fungus. Actually, by the way, it's actually rather funny that they know that the fungi can live on different places without actually making any symptoms for the people and not showing up and all that, but they don't think that the fungi can go wild in you and having inner, things that is not so visible on the outer surface, they just totally miss that, but it can live, places and all that without showing itself up and without having, without being an issue for the person. Yet when it goes, wild and becomes an issue for the person, and that's not showing up as such as visible things and all that, then you're just making everything up, That's I think that's an interesting observation in some sense, or anyway. Such as athlete foot, jug itch, and ringworm. Blastomyces dermatitis is a dimorphic fungus that can cause blastomycosis, a respiratory infection that, if left untreated, can become disseminated to other body sites, sometimes leading to death. Another important respiratory pathogen, harmful organism, is the dimorphic fungus Histoplasma capsulatum. We have a figure apparently. That was in regards of. Is that the? Yeah, okay, that was the. I wonder if that is also in regards to the one that was in the bird robbings. I don't know. Which is associated with birds and bats in the Ohio and Mississippi River valleys. Oh, I could really eat some meat, at the moment. I do wonder when they open in regards of the store. But I could really eat a good beef, get some red meat into me. Coccidioides immitis causes the serious lung disease valley fever. Candida albicans, there we go with the Candida albicans, the most common cause of vaginal and other yeast infections. The most common cause of vaginal and other yeast infections. This is the most common cause for yeast infection, and yet the white coat murderers still, are blinded that, oh, it's not. Anyway, it's also an ascomycete fungus. How is that an ascomycete fungus? Anyway, it is a part of the normal microbiota of the skin, intestine, genital tract. Oh, that's actually interesting. I thought at some point I was tested by, for an infection in the renal. I thought maybe I have an issue in regards to the renal tract, right? And so I tried different natural things as well to against it. But I thought maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's the problem. In regards to the itch and all that. And I was tested at, where they get a sample and all that, you pee in a thing and all that. And I don't actually remember if if she actually sent it to anything. I think I actually just got the result the same day. I just gave her, and then I think she just tested it by there. But if there's already, they might not even be looking for Candida albicans in that test, Of course, as I understand it, you need to grow out the Candida albicans. I don't know. But I think I got the result the same day. I'm not entirely sure. It's a little hard to remember, but I think I was actually pretty surprised. I think she just, did something, and then, there's no infection in that or whatever. Of course, if Candida is natural present in the genital tract as well. What is it? Let's see if I get it right. This genital. Yeah. Are relating to external sex organs. I would guess it is in regards of the peeing, right? I don't know. Let's try to see genital tract. Attract. Genital tract, be used to denote encompassing. Let's have an image here if we can see what it is. If I'm getting it, maybe I'm getting it wrong. Maybe it's in regards to the woman tract here. Okay, maybe it's not in regards to the what is it called? Maybe it's just in regards of the vagina and all that. So maybe it's not in regards of the But anyway, whatever. They didn't find anything, at least in regards of when they did that test on me. So I guess why couldn't they just write vagina? Of course we have to be using different weird words. See the figure here as regards again of this. Okay, ascomycetes also cause plant diseases. I do wonder in regards of ascomycetes how Candida albicans could be an ascomycete. Yeah, I don't know. Ascomycete also cause plant diseases, including ergot infection, Dutch elm disease, and powdery mildews. So Saccharomyces yeast, including the baker's yeast, S. cerevisiae, are unicellular, single-celled ascomycetes with haploid and diploid stages. And we have a figure apparently for that. Yeah, well, whatever. This and other Saccharomyces species are used for brewing beer. So yeah. So what you get when you get beer is a product made by yeast. And that seems to actually be something that stimulates the yeast in your gut and not yeah. So anyway, which is not so good. Again, I don't know the whole idea what happens when you ingest or take in beer, But it seemed to actually have, when I drank a little beer, it would stop the itch in the beginning when I had the itch. So the question is, why would it stop the itch when I began to drink a little beer in the beginning? I don't know. There seems to be a correlation there as well. Maybe because it's something that it likes. I don't know. What was something in regards of some belief that the fungus make issues for you, make you feel bad and all that when you are not feeding it. So if you're actually feeding it, you might feel better, yet you're helping it to spread itself and so forward, and just get things worse. But then the thing is, if you stop feeding it, you might actually get worse because the fungi will make your life more miserable. It's incredible. It's so incredible demonic. It wants to be fed, We have the psychode meiosis and ascospores. Oh, here we go with the. Is this a different thing than we actually looked at before in regards of? It's different. Okay, sorry. So that's it in regards to the micro. Let's go back here. So it is. There we go. So we had the picture of these ascospores. How is the candida an ascospore? I don't understand that. Where was it said that candida was an aspo? Here we have Candida albicans, the most common cause of vaginal and all the yeast infections, is also an ascomycete fungus. How is that? How is Candida albicans an ascomycete fungus? I don't understand that. How can that be an ascomycete fungus? Because as I understand it, there's two ways of making spores for the fungi, the Candida albicans, and I don't remember it actually being inside. It's like this. It's that I don't remember. I don't understand that, how that works. As far as I can see, it makes the spores, or it makes the chlamydia spores, and that's the two spores that it. But it doesn't seem like they are inside the fungus itself, being protected or anything like that. They just seem to be outside of the, I don't know. The life cycle of an ascomycete is characterized by production of asci during the sexual phase. The haploid phase is the predominant phase of the life cycle. Ascomycete life cycle. Okay, so we have the spores. At the asexual reproduction makes a mycelia. So we have the germination, one plasmogamy and mitosis, the ascogonium and antheridium fuse. Mitosis and cell division results in the formation of many dikaryotic hyphae, which form a fruiting body called the ascocarp. Asci form at the tips of these hyphae. So we have mycelia, we have the ascogonium, and we have the antheridium. And apparently they, I don't know. Then we have ascus, sexual. So ascus are those that are inside, where they have merged, I guess, sexual reproduction. I'm not sure. Here we go. Here we have the merging of them. And apparently one is represented as green, and then you have the red one, where you can see then the ones is fixed with the, well, that was in regards of, the minus and plus, right? So maybe that's in regards of the what was called, what was the word for that? Maybe that was in regards to the haploid phase. I don't know. So ascocarp karyogamy, the nuclei in the asci fuse to form the diploid zygote. So here we have the zygote, and meiosis and excus with 4 haploid nuclei is formed. So the forming and mitosis and cell division, 8 haploid exospores are formed. So there's exospores. I don't remember Candida having any exospores. I don't remember seeing any information that Candida makes ascospores. You know, Candida albicans. Candida. So I'm not sure why they're saying that. Candida albicans. But of course, you know, there's a lot of weird things going on with the fungus. Albicans, Candida albicans. And ascospores. Let's see if it finds anything in regards of ascospores. Scholarly article for Candida albicans ascospores. Ascomycota. That doesn't really help me on Mycobank. Ascospores with the group. I don't know. I just haven't seen where that this is like important fun. Here we just have the standard, maybe they think it's like the chlamydiospore that is like inside. I don't know, but doesn't look like the. Yeah, I don't know how they fix that. You know, any case. So dispersal and germination, that's number 5. So, you know, dispersal, and so it disperses afterwards, you know. Okay, yeah. But again, I don't know how that works out with Candida albicans. So, the basidiomycetes are fungi that have basidia, club-shaped structures that produce basidiospores. Spores produced through budding within fruiting bodies called basidiocarps. Figure. Oh wait, we have. No, this is another new thing in regards of how they do it. I guess that will come down here. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we'll just look at that afterwards. Called basidiocarps. They are important as decomposers and as food. This group includes rust, stinkhorns, puffballs, and mushrooms. Several species are particularly important. Cryptococcus neoformans, fungus commonly found as a yeast in the environment, can cause serious lung infections when inhaled by individuals with weakened immune system. The edible mid-meadow mushroom Agricos cambitris is a basidiomycete, as is the poisonous mushroom Amanitophalloides, known as the dead cap. Again, if it's just the red one with the right ones on top of it, if you eat it, as I understand it, you get a trip, but you don't die. I could, of course, mushroom Amanitophalloides. I could try to check it on my computer here. Let's see. Just my glasses. Amanita phalloides. Let's see. No, I'm getting that wrong. Sorry. I've looked that up again before. It looks like just standard fungi in some sense, but as is the poisonous mushroom Amanitophalloides, known as the dead cap. Apparently, it's more like a white one than a red one. But maybe the red one is also called something in regards of Amanita. But we have 2 very dangerous fungus in Denmark. We have the red one. Amanita muscaria, that was the one I was thinking about. So it has somewhat of the same name, but it won't kill you if you eat it, you know. But the white one, if it's probably actually this white one is probably the one that actually lives in Denmark. Just I can't remember the name of it in Danish, but it's but yeah, it you know, and you have to. It looks like a little like one of the eatable, so you have to be aware. Underneath it has the gills, and the gills on the eatable is brown, and the gills on the poisonous one that can kill you is white. So that's one of the ways to distinguish these two, and to know about the white fungus and the green fungus in Denmark is pretty important if you're going out on a hunt on mushrooms. Now, of course, the mushrooms might have other issues that can, that might not kill you, but might have an effect. I don't know, but yeah. But those two, the green and white, those in Denmark at least are the two important things to know about, because you will only find out too late that it's it takes some time to figure out. You might eat it, and then you find out like 4 or 5 hours later on when it's too late that I'm getting bad, and then it's pretty much too late. And then it might actually kill you off. And there was this guy actually. I remember where he actually had an antidote for one of these really. I can't remember if it was like overall in regards to fungi, but something like when he made his lecture, he would eat one of these fungus poisons. Fungus. Poisonous fungus. Mushrooms, and he would take the antidote, and then he would keep his then he would do his but I can't remember what that was. So anyway, it's some years ago since I actually did research into fungi in regards of mushrooms and all that. But I was out there hunting for. I was never good at, I never got to a point where I really, but that was primary 2 different fungi that I ate. So and one of them was pretty tasty, but that's the one that could look like, you have to be aware if it's looking like the poisonous form, but you have to look at the gills. And if the gills are brown, it's not the poisonous form. Hopefully not. Anyway, it also has more like if I remember correctly, a brown surface as well. But anyway, so the Basidiomycota are fungi that have Basidia club-shaped structures that produce basidiospores. Spores produced through budding within fruiting bodies called basidiocarps. They are important as decomposers and as food. This group includes rust, stinkhorns, puffballs, and mushrooms. Several species are of particular importance. Cryptococcus neoforms, a fungus commonly found as a yeast in the environment, can cause serious lung infection when inhaled by individuals with weakened immune system. The eatable meadow mushroom Acricos cambustris is a basidiomycete, as is the poisonous mushroom Amanita phalloides, known as the dead cap. The deadly toxin produced by phalloides produced by Amanita phalloides have been used to study transcription. But again, that was this guy with an antidote, a doctor or something like that, that found out that there was an antidote for something, and again he proved it every lecture by eating and taking the antidote with it. So or afterwards, so. Yeah, so that's pretty interesting. But again, I can't remember the details of it. I might be able to find him if I look him up and all that. The life cycle of Basidiomycete alternates a haploid generation with a prolonged stage in which 2 nuclei decaryon are presented in the hypha. How much do we actually... Maybe I should take oh, we don't have that much, but it's closing to 8 o'clock, and oops, and I would actually, I would need some, I would like to have some food before, so if I just stop it here, and I'll read the next thing after I've been out swimming and getting some meat and all that. So I'll just, I think I'll stop here. There's not that much left, but you know, the clock is ticking, and yeah, you know, it's just getting out there while you have the will to do so, right? So if I just, maybe I should take some you know, yogurt, and after the yogurt, I have a pretty good amount of pretty good yogurt here. It's like 5 days old. So it should. What? I just destroyed. Oh, that's not good. Why have I put? You know. Oh well, also antifungal capsule that just broke because I put a milk on top of it. There we go. Oh yeah, it's really yep, it's sour. That's the smell sour, that's for sure. I also have some in my oven and all that. That should also be pretty sour now. I should get some more milk if I want to try. But again, it seems to, you know, if you just keep to meat, you know, that seems to be the best thing. But you know, just in regards of the gut, right, trying to get some good bacteria in the gut, and you know, making some issues for the candida. Let's see, it's around a liter in this one. Oh my. Oh, this is, that's become really good now. Oh my, oh, it's like it's worse than lemon. Let's see if I can get the, there we go. This is, of course you can't smell it, but this is like, it's really sour, you know. I don't know in regards of if I take a pH, but that's sour. It should show up as, but that was like 5 days or something like that it had, you know, stand there, and I have it. I put them close to the. You know, I've what is it called, inoculated them or whatever with yogurt. I bought different yogurts and just threw all the yogurts, you know, so it should get different bacteria and all that. Let's see. Let's put a pH thing in this and see what it gets. And maybe I should just, no, it's just about, go. And let's see what we get. And that doesn't look that bad. Let's see here. It is a little darker than it's a little hard with the yogurt to see how much. It's around the 4 at least, it seems. Around the 4, a pH 4, you know, but yeah, it's a little hard with the yogurt because it's, you know, have the white stuff in it and all that. But yeah, around a 4 in pH. You know, it tastes really sour, that's for sure. But anyway, I guess I'll stop now, and I don't have much more to say, and you know, I think I'll going to take the yogurt, you know, drink a liter of yogurt, and then pretty much from there on take maybe another nystatin. Then I will be on 3 nystatin, and then I'll go out and swim a trip, and after that buy some meat and maybe also some milk, but you know, I have to buy that in a different place. I want the, you know, if I'm going to have milk, I want to have the real, you know, grass-fed and all that. And there's pretty much only one milk. It's still pasteurized, but there's pretty much only one milk that is fed natural food, apparently, to the cows. Yeah, wonder why. But anyway, and then I can fill the yogurt vessels up again and let them stand for 5 days or whatever. Usually it would have actually been nice to have some more yogurt to actually inoculated with. I should probably, I don't know what I'm doing. I still have some still have a good amount in the oven at the moment, and the oven just keeps it a little hotter, a little quicker to actually make it. The problem is I'm making it in a pot, so you can't really see if the milk is dividing it. When you have it in glass, you can pretty much see the when it begins to divide it, as it did here, and then you can just make a swirl around to make it. But anyway, that's a little harder with the other one. But I just took different yogurts and just put them in there, inoculated them. I think it's called. I'm not entirely sure, but put a little of this from this yogurt and this yogurt and this yogurt, and then just hope for the best, right? And seemed to work at least. So, but of course with raw milk, as I understand it, you could just let the raw milk sit directly from the cow. You can just let it sit. And it's not cold either, so the bacteria in it would be interesting with a microscope actually to look at, but as I understand, it's very, very hard to actually figure out what bacteria kinds it is. I heard from this microscope guy that it's pretty much impossible nearly impossible to figure out which bacteria it is. You can see you might be able to see the bacteria, but classifying it is apparently a lot harder. He's talked about, so you might see them go around and all that, but classifying them is apparently a little harder. I guess fungus might be a lot easier to classify. I don't know. Anyway, I don't have a microscope, but it would be interesting to look into the milk anyway, and also to see that milk and then compare it to real raw milk, and see the difference. That would be very interesting. I guess I can get a cheap microscope or something. Cheaper. It still needs to do what it needs to do, right? I have looked on 2 microscopes that might be able to, I don't know how much I will use it. That's the thing. And again, resources, again, but I might be able to then, just have a look, and, see things for myself, Yeah, that's a lot of things, Anyway, have a good one. May Jehovah bless you, and may Yeshua be that most precious pearl, and don't throw him away when you've found out who he is. He's not a cookie, and he's not only a prophet, okay? Anyway, he's God that walked on earth. And may the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth, be in us all. Amen. Have a good one, and be aware of wolves in sheep clothing. That's pretty much all. And just stand on truth as best to your ability, This world is filled with bullshit. It's very sad. And after, again, I'm going to read the rest when I come home. It took a lot of hours actually getting through it. But again, reading and getting things, every time you learn a little here and a little there. I don't know if I can use it, but anyway, to have to try, Hopefully at some point it will work, at some point kick it back. And I guess tomorrow I'll see if I can. I'll need to see if I can. I have some Danish sources in regards to diflucan. See if there's 2 doctors that wrote 2 different papers in Danish. Maybe I can call them up. I don't know. Maybe they're totally busy and all that. Just need someone that can give me some diflucan. How hard can it be? Well, apparently very hard too. Anyway, see if I have 14 days. Around 14 days, because that after that the diflucan should pretty much be settled by that point. Oh, sorry, the nystatin. The nystatin after 7 to 14 days should pretty much have taken things out if it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But anyway, then it should have taken the gut. All the fungi and all that in the gut. I guess it might. I guess it if the candida is down there, I don't know if it actually totally destroys it, because the candida can go into its yeast form, and I don't know if it's the same cell then when it's in yeast form then when it's. I have a lot of questions in regards to that. Anyway, and of course it seems like people are living without this candida anyway, so it seems you're able to live without it. But again, it actually, as I understand, it has its function as long as it just keeps in the good state. Yeah. So the idea, like 7 to 14 days of the nystatin, and then continue on the nystatin with diflucan. That was the idea, because then I can take it like on true rouse, and see, because if I just take both of the things at the same time, that's not really, which one is doing what, if I get any symptoms and all that, right? So, yeah. So that was my idea. I also have some milk down here. Doesn't really, it's in glass. Doesn't really look like it's getting, but it should be done. It's probably very sour. And as I understand it, if it's very sour, the bad guys cannot live in the sour environment. So, yeah. Anyway, have a good one. Now it's like 8 o'clock, so now they should have opened. So, yeah. Get some milk. Put another pill in regards of nystatin in me. Go and have a swim. Get some food, great meat, red meat. And maybe also afterwards get some milk, more milk to to make into a really sour yogurt in some sense. It becomes like kind of it becomes more of a yogurt form pretty much, So even if the milk is, then when it begins to sour, it becomes more like a yogurt thing, and it tastes pretty good, And I use like this, and that helps, So, yeah. Anyway, I'll stop now. Stop talking! Stop the video! 2 hours and 41 minutes, yeah.